So far, Tom Fitzgerald has made a few solid additions, but it's time for him to make a big move to really take the team to the next level. And there might be a player in Emerald City that's worth pursuing. We have a lot to break down in today's episode of Locked On Devils. Buckle up, everybody.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, this is Bryce Salvador, and you're Locked On Devils with Trey Matthews.
Scores! Oh, Steven stepped up, nailed it. Brodor's got the puck. What a shot. The Devils win the Stanley Cup.
Alrighty now, what is up, New Jersey? Welcome back to the Locked On Devils podcast here at the Locked On Network. I'm your host, Kyle Chalky Play Announcer, Devils Wire Pucks Pitchforks, and also part-time credential media member, Trey Matthews. What's on the agenda for today's episode? We have more soundbites to share from development camp. This time around, we will hear from Cam Squires and Jimmy Dowd Jr. Does that name sound familiar? I think some of the more old school Devils fans know who I'm referring to. Think back to the 1995 Stanley Cup. But to kick off today's episode, we're going to talk some silly season. Right now, we're at a slow point of the offseason. Andre Palat, will he stay? Will he go? Dougie Hamilton, will he stay? Will he go? Luke Hughes still needs an extension. Just waiting for one big move from Tom Fitzgerald. Don't get me wrong, I think he's made some solid moves, getting Evgeny Dodonov and also Connor Brown, but let's face it, that's not really going to catapult the Devils to Stanley Cup contenders. I think the Devils still have one more move in them. However, there is someone that is rumored to be on the trade block, and that is Jared McCann. Now, I talked about Jared McCann in a prior episode many months back. My colleague over at Pucks and Pitchforks, Neil Villapiano, also wrote an article on the matter, but let's bring it back up because the Seattle Kraken seem to be stagnant. They seem to be in no man's land. They're not really a playoff team, but they're not rebuilding either. And how their division is, they might be stuck in neutral for quite some time, and they might try to unload Jared McCann, and we'll see how that pans out. The Kraken are already on their, third head coach in 3 seasons. I love the Kraken. They're like my second favorite team, but they haven't really moved the needle the past few seasons. We'll see how it pans out. According to David Pagnotta of the Fourth Period, he recently shared that the Kraken are open to moving McCann if the right offer presents itself. So, like I said, let's do a silly season discussion. Should the Devils throw their hat in the ring for McCann? Here are his numbers this past season. He put up 22 goals, which was third on the Kraken, 39 assists, led the team, 61 points, also led the team. He had 4 power play goals, fifth, 12 power play assists, second, giving him 16 total power play points. He won 104 faceoffs, fifth on the team. He had a faceoff win percentage of 44.7%. He had 29 takeaways, fourth on the team. He had an offensive point share rating of 4.5, first on the team. A 2.0 defensive point share rating, seventh, giving him a point share rating of 6.4, second. And he had a 40.5 expected goals for rating, eighth on the team. Here's what you could expect from McCann. He has grown into a solid player and power play sniper who can get to the front of the net and finish. What's something he needs to work on? Well, adding more muscle, adding more strength could help him fight off some defensemen in the slot. I think he could learn from Stefan Nason, who's one of the best net front presence in the league. And McCann can also play either wing or center. He's a versatile scoring forward who excels on the power play. Not only that, he's capable of killing off penalties. And I just read you his stats. Really good contributor up and down the board. He is down to the final 2 years of his original 5-year, $25 million deal. So he would have a cap hit of $5 million. Should the Devils pursue McCann? Honestly, if the opportunity presents itself, I think McCann would be a great add for Tom Fitzgerald. But the big question is, what would that trade package look like? Courtesy of my colleagues over at Pucks and Pitchforks, Alex Chavancy and Rob DeLuca touched on the matter back in December. So this trade package might be a little outdated, but I think you can obviously make some adjustments for it. The Devils would receive McCann, and the Kraken would get Dawson Mercer and a second round pick. Obviously, they said a 2025 second round pick, but that can easily change to a 2026 second round pick. They don't believe that McCann is worth a first round, but if that's what the Kraken asked for, then maybe you could play hardball a little bit. Here's my thing. I think McCann would be a good add for Tom Fitzgerald because when looking at his stats the past few seasons, I just told you in 82 game appearances, he put up 61 points. The season prior, 80 games played, 62 points. 2022, 2023, 79 games played, 70 points. In the inaugural season with the Seattle Kraken, 74 games played, 50 points. He's consistent. If the Devils were to add him to the roster, I think he fills a big void that was left behind when Toffoli was dealt to Winnipeg. Why did the Devils struggle offensively last year? Because I felt as though they didn't really replace Toffoli's production. 2023, 2024, the Devils were one of the best offensive teams in the NHL, I would argue. You had Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Nico Hischier, Timo Meier, Dawson Mercer, but who really put it over the edge? I would say it was Tyler Toffoli, and once he was dealt at the deadline, the Devils never really replaced him. And last season, the Devils struggled when it came to spreading out their offense. Now, here's the thing. I'm not really on board when it comes to trading away Dawson Mercer because when you look at your bottom six, Dawson Mercer, by and large, was the better contributor of all the other players like Tomas Tatar, Curtis Lazar, Eric Haula, Justin Dowling, Nathan Bastian, you name it. Mercer, I think, wasn't really given much to work with. And Tom Fitzgerald also spoke highly of Mercer at a recent press conference. So I don't think Fitzgerald is too keen on dealing Mercer, but if something like this were to present itself, I think he'd be open to it. But if you were to add McCann to the roster, so you would have him, Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Nico Hischier, Timo Meier, I think you can spread that out a little bit more. So that way the Devils have more options to work with. They can mix and match their lines. Neil Villapiano, like I just mentioned, he wrote an article on the matter, and he talked about how McCann is very versatile and can play both wing or center. So you could really take the pressure off the shoulders of someone like Jesper Bratt or Jack Hughes if you have McCann by their side, one of those lines somewhere. McCann could slide in, and I think he can definitely contribute. So my answer is yes, I would be open with the Devils pursuing someone like McCann. I think he's proven to be a very useful forward. And I know the Kraken haven't been in the league all that long. I believe that they've only been in the NHL for 5 seasons. I know this is not saying much, but McCann is one of the best players in Kraken history. But like I said, they've only been in the NHL for a few seasons. If the Kraken are open to trading away McCann, the Devils have got to throw their hat into the ring and see what the front office. The Devils have got to throw their hat into the ring and see what Ron Francis has in store. I think that could take their offense to the next level. And of all the silly season discussions I've done so far, I see some similarities to the one that I did surrounding Jason Robertson, which is you can try to put together a few pieces to work on a package deal so that way it can work financially. Because I said the reason why the Devils wouldn't be in the running for Brad Marchand or Sam Bennett or Mitch Marner is because when it came to free agents, the Devils didn't really have much money to work with. But when it comes to a trade, that works into their favor a little bit more. So for those reasons, that's why I say the Devils should definitely explore Jared McCann and see what the Kraken are willing to accept in order to get his services to New Jersey. All right, we're going to hear from Cam Squires and Jimmy Dowd Jr. momentarily. But before we continue, let me tell you guys about Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can be. Whether you're growing your savings or planning your big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So, in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. What was one surprising thing I noticed when I started tracking my spending with Monarch was just how much I was spending on takeout. Ever since I got Monarch, not only am I eating healthier, but I am budgeting and my wallet is a lot healthier, which I think is more important. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. All right. We got more sound bites to share from development camp. As you guys know, it is kind of a slow part of the off season. Development camp sort of gets lost in a lot of other big events happening, like the draft or free agency. I remember attending development camp a couple seasons ago, had a great time. So, whenever we're at this point of the off season, mid July, development camp is already in the books. I like to play the sound bites and get to know the prospects a little bit more. So that's what we've been doing so far this week, and probably what we're going to do for the rest of the week until Tom Fitzgerald actually makes a move. Whether it involves Andre Palat or Luke Hughes, we're just going to have to wait and see. But let's learn about Cam Squires. Speaking of me attending development camp a few years ago, I had the chance to conduct a one-on-one interview with Cam Squires. He was drafted in the 4th round back in 2023. Here's a scouting report. Squires understands the playmaking game, that deception works best against defensemen, that the players who have the most space are the ones behind him on the attack, and he can hit these rush trailers with abrupt changes of speed and turns. Seems like he likes to slice and dice through defense to create some openings for not only himself but his teammates. This past season, he played in the QMJHL and also the AHL. While with the Cape Breton Eagles, he was an alternate captain. He appeared in 58 games. He had 24 goals, 51 assists for a grand total of 75 points. He also had a plus minus of plus 26. That's pretty impressive. This season with the Comets, he appeared in 3 games and he racked up 4 points. So he was technically more than a point per game player. 1 goal, 3 assists. I find Cam Squires quite compelling, and it's going to be interesting to see where his game goes. Here's what he had to say at development camp with the rest of the Devils media.
First of all, let's talk about Utica getting a taste of pro game. Was it what you expected? What was it like? And what maybe did you learn from the couple games there?
Yeah, I think it was good. Obviously, to get up there at the end of the year, kind of test out the skills. It's a stronger league for sure. Like it's, those are grown men. They're playing professional hockey players. They've been at it for a while. It's bigger, it's faster, but just to get that experience at the end of the year, I think was huge. Get up there and get a taste and be ready to go next year.
And what was it like there last year in junior? I mean, obviously set some career highs and assist points and stuff. Like, did you feel like your game took another step and evolved?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's just kind of learning to do the details right. Like obviously, a big part of my game is scoring goals and creating offense, but I think just rounding out everything else, trying to be more physical, trying to get into guys more, and be responsible in all ends of the ice. Because at the next level, you slip up in that areas, and it's just next man up. So I think it's just taking responsibility to be accountable and trusted by coaching staff.
And I remember last year at the Prospects Challenge in Buffalo, you're one of the best players for the Devils. Do you think that tournament helped kind of get some momentum going into the season?
Yeah, it's a fun tournament. I mean, everybody's out there trying to show their stuff, so it's intense. It's fast, it's hard hockey. So I think it does a good job of setting the tone for the year. And so I just think getting into it and using the excitement of that start of the season, hopping right in and playing some fast hockey with a lot of good players. It's a fun tournament, and it sets a lot of guys up for a good year.
And what's the benefit of a camp like this, being around all kind of your fellow prospects, learning, working with development coaches and stuff like that? What benefit do you have from this week?
I think it's just getting here and picking everybody's brains. It's sometimes it's a short camp. There's a short window, but I think just taking advantage of all the ice times, like being out there early with the skating coach, working on that part of my game is huge. And just at the end of practice, there's so many great staff around in the organization. So just talking to guys, use their experiences, and that's a big thing. Like, there's no dumb questions here. It's just you're trying to get better at this point of your game and your career. Like for me, the steps are so small that you can improve on. So I think just taking every inch, learning a lot, and then using that to go back to the summer and come back for main camp ready to go.
I was going to say, what your goal in main camp is just to get as far as you can go? Like, are you aiming Devils, or are you thinking maybe more Utica need a little more time?
Yeah, I think it's, any training camp you're trying to make a team. So I'm not really coming in just to get cut. So I'm going to come in, put my best foot forward, and it's up in their hands. After I do that, compete, work my ass off for a couple weeks, see what they have to say and their plan for me, and just follow it as it is. Wherever they put me, I'm going to be, you're going to get the same player. So it's just work my way up, and now it's time to kind of turn that next chapter and get ready for some pro hockey. So I'm excited.
How excited are you to kind of take that step into the pro career, wherever you land, into the pro game?
Yeah, it's fun. It's exciting. It's going to be a challenge, but that's why you play, to compete and to climb up to the best league. So I think just not changing too much, just putting my best foot forward, working hard, and bring the game that I can bring, and we'll see how things work out in the fall.
I believe that was Squires' third straight year of appearing at development camp. He's always a great talker. I loved interacting with him, and like I said moments ago, I'm excited to see where his development takes him. Okay, to close out today's episode, let's hear from Jimmy Dowd Jr. Does that name sound familiar? Like I said earlier in the episode, it should, because his father, Jim Dowd, was a longtime NHL player and had a few stints with the Devils, including winning a Stanley Cup with the team back in 1995. Focusing on his son, his youth team was the New Jersey Junior Titans. I believe his father and emergency backup goalie Kyle Shapiro coached there for quite some time. Shout out to Kyle Shapiro, former friend of the show. Dowd is 25 years of age. He's a defenseman. He stands 5'9", weighs 161 pounds. He last played for Penn State. This past season with Penn State, he appeared in 27 games, had 1 goal, 9 assists for a grand total of 10 points. While we're on the subject of Penn State, shout out to Gavin McKenna, who committed to play there. I believe he's going to basically set the foundation when it comes to college hockey players and NIL. I think he is set to earn $700,000 just for playing with Penn State. So congratulations to McKenna. He also appeared on ESPN to make his commitment official. I'm loving the popularity of hockey and how it continues to grow year after year after year. And I think we're going to see more top-notch prospects elect to play in college due to NIL. I have mixed opinions when it comes to NIL and how it can benefit certain teams, certain programs, but I'm not covering a college sport. I'm covering a professional sport. And getting back to Jimmy Dowd Jr., he also played in the USHL for the Chicago Steel a few years back. Scott Gomez, Alaskan native and Devils legend, is currently the head coach for the Chicago Steel. Here's what Jimmy Dowd Jr. had to say at development camp to the media. Take a listen.
How's it feel to be here and be part of this development camp, be around all these guys?
Super cool. Super grateful to be here, be around these guys. Especially as the oldest guy here, is pretty funny. A lot of these guys are super young. But, it's just special to be here.
And do you feel like you have a little bit of a leadership role, being one of the older guys in the room?
Yeah, definitely. Just kind of set the example for the younger guys, especially after being at Penn State for half a decade. Like Moser and Conrad, they're going into their freshman year. So just answering their questions and then, just doing what you're supposed to do.
Giving all the inside tips on where to go on campus, I assume?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're going to be pumped when they get to Pagula. And I was telling Mo that my favorite place to play at was Minnesota, so we had some good banter there.
And how was last season for you? Where's some areas of your game you think you improved upon, and where's some areas you still would like to improve upon?
Yeah, I mean, last year was amazing, with our comeback and everything, just being 0-9 in the Big Ten, and then going on that run the second half of the year just really showed the resiliency of our whole group and the job that Guy Godowski did with us. And then individually, I think just always improving. Like I'm a undersized, underrated defenseman, and to play at the next level, I really need to work on my defensive part of the game, and the rest will come, but just get bigger, stronger, and defend first and defend hard.
What is the key when you are a little bit of an undersized defenseman? Is it using your legs, the speed, angles? Like, what do you think the kind of trade-off is there?
My hockey sense, for sure. Just how I think the game, how I see the ice. But kind of like I said, I need to defend hard, need to take care of my own zone, then the rest could take care of itself.
You talk about the Big Ten. It seems like they've had a lot of good players, and I guess in the last maybe 10, 15, maybe 20 years. What made the Big Ten stand out to so many?
I think just the competitiveness of it. Like the skill's unbelievable too. Like you see guys like Nyes, Lacombe. Like I could name a million guys. Finker on our team, Serrato. Like there's a ton of guys, but just the competitiveness every night and kind of those like big school rivalries. Like us in Michigan, like we hate each other. Like all the other teams hate each other. We all just hate each other, but it just breeds competitiveness, and it's so fun every single night. Like anyone can beat anyone on any given night, no matter where you are in the standings.
Is it fun when you have like a Michigan guy here in the room and you guys have a little fun banter there? Like,
yeah, it's super cool. I played against Eddie for however long he was at Michigan, and it's fun. It's funny that we're both here now, and like I can learn stuff from him. Like even though he's younger than me, but he's an unbelievable player, unbelievable skater. He sees the ice super well, and learning from him. And yeah, it's funny. We're just beating the heck out of each other, like in playoffs and everything. But now we're here and we're teammates at this camp, so it's super cool.
Off the ice, do you get to know some of the other guys on the other teams in the Big Ten, and do you kind of support each other or push each other?
I wouldn't say support each other so much during season, but you definitely get to know each other, and just from seeing familiar faces, especially after your first year, your second year, your third year, and again, just pushing each other. Like you're just pushing each other every game, and there's no friends on the ice, but when you're off the ice, help each other out if you have to. But it's just, like I said, the Big Ten was so unbelievable to play in, and I'm super happy I was at Penn State for those 5 years.
Penn State is always known as a football school. It's nice to see getting more recognition in hockey.
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable. Hockey Valley too, and it's turned into something really special with what we did last year. And don't get me wrong, the football is unbelievable with what they did last year, going as far as they did. And we get to go to games during the year too, which is super fun. Like the first 4 or 5 games, and follow along with them is fun. But times are really changing now, especially with all the rule changes and everything, and the success we had last year, and the guys we have coming in this year, and our freshman class from last year, like Jackson Smith. He just went 14th overall the other weekend. Chucky got drafted, and it's going to be really special to see what that group can do next year and in the years to come.
How'd you do in Topgolf?
Good. The club. We all wish we had a glove, because we felt like we were going to throw the club into the thing if we hit it as hard as we could. But it was super fun, and kind of like before, like whoever said, like you just gel with the guys off the ice and have a little fun with it. It looked like Artem never used a golf club in his life, but it was super funny to kind of watch him, and everyone's there just getting to know each other. So just one of those team bonding experiences.
I don't think Jimmy's going to be an NHL player like his dad, but I'm glad that he's being given some opportunities to come to development camp and get a sense of it just a little bit. Let me know your thoughts about the possibility of the Devils pursuing Jared McCann. And also, what are your expectations for the Devils? A lot could happen within the next few days. I'm getting a little antsy. I think it's time for Tom Fitzgerald to make another big move, something to really get the fan base excited for. Leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on podcast streaming service, hit me up on my personal X Page app at TrainMat4 or the show's X Page app at Locked On Devils. As for today's episode, that's all the time I have for you. Continue to stay safe. Have a wonderful day in New Jersey. Go Devils. I'll catch you guys next episode. Thanks for listening once again.